You know that person. The one who seems to have a good life. Maybe they travel, they own a nice home, they drive a car that doesn't break down, but you'd never know it from their social media feed. While your timeline is a constant scroll of tagged locations, unboxings, and polished achievements, theirs is quiet. A photo of a book, a sunset, their dog. The absence is almost louder than the noise. It makes you wonder. In a world that constantly asks us to perform our success, what happens in the mind of someone who chooses to step off that stage? This isn't about being shy or lacking ambition. It's about a silent, deliberate calculation that happens somewhere between taking the photo and hitting post. A moment of pause where the question isn't, how many likes will this get? But a deeper, more private one. Do I actually want to share this, or am I just performing for an audience? For a growing number of people, displaying money online doesn't feel like a celebration. It feels like opening a door, and once it's open, you can't control who walks in or what they bring with them. Think about the last time you made a significant purchase. A new car perhaps, or a piece of furniture you saved for. The instinct to share it is powerful. It's a social script we've all learned. Now, imagine the alternative. The person who buys that car feels the genuine thrill of the achievement, drives it home, and simply enjoys it. The satisfaction is internal. There's no need to convert that private joy into public validation because the value wasn't created for an audience in the first place. It was created for them. That's a subtle but profound shift in mindset. And if you've ever felt the pressure to perform your life rather than live it, I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. This channel is a space to explore these quiet, often overlooked choices that define our relationship with money and status. This discretion is rarely an accident. It's a form of protection. When you post a photo of a luxury watch, you're not just sharing an object, you're broadcasting a data point. You're inviting a specific kind of arithmetic. Comparison. Your cousin calculates how much it cost. Your colleague wonders why they haven't gotten that promotion yet. An old friend feels a pang of envy they didn't ask for. And suddenly, your personal milestone is no longer just yours. It's become a metric in other people's internal spreadsheets of success and failure. The person who doesn't post understands this instinctively.
They know that money, once displayed, changes how people look at you. It can distort relationships, planting seeds of assumption and expectation. You can afford it. You should pay. Why are you complaining? Look at your life. The private purchase remains just that, private. It avoids becoming a character in someone else's narrative. Then there's the performance itself. Turning your financial life into content is work. It requires maintenance.
That picture-perfect trip to Italy? Now it needs a highlight reel. The new handbag needs to be styled in 3 different outfits. The dinner at the expensive restaurant requires you to curate the shot, tag the chef, and use the right hashtag. The experience, in its purest form, gets buried under the labor of proving it happened. The person who opts out rejects this labor. They are on that same trip, but they are present in a different way. They're tasting the wine, not just photographing the label. They're feeling the sun on their skin, not just framing it for the perfect story. They've made a choice. The memory is for them, not their feed. The proof is in their own recollection, not in the digital archive. This extends to the most sensitive areas: income, investments, assets. To talk about these things online is to invite a vortex of opinions, unsolicited advice, and invasive curiosity. It transforms a personal matter into a public discussion. The individual who stays quiet isn't being secretive, they're being strategic. They understand that financial stability can attract the wrong kind of attention. From distant relatives with sudden emergencies to acquaintances with can't-miss business opportunities. By keeping their financial landscape off the map, they avoid becoming a destination for other people's projections and needs. At its core, this isn't about hiding one's life. It's about defining its boundaries. It's a declaration that some joys are too fragile, too personal, or too meaningful to be diluted by the opinions of 1,000 distant observers. The value of an experience is measured in the quiet moments it generates, not the public noise. It's the difference between owning something and being owned by the image of owning it. The pressure to maintain a facade of effortless affluence is a weight that many are consciously choosing to put down. They are opting for a simpler, more authentic equation. My worth is not my net worth, and my life is not a content strategy. This quiet resistance forms a counter-narrative in our hyper-visible culture. It suggests that the ultimate sign of having truly made it might not be the ability to show off, but the privilege of not having to. It's a reclaiming of interiority. When you stop performing your financial wins, you start to discover what they actually mean to you, stripped of external applause. It allows for a more honest relationship with money, one where it serves your life rather than your life serving as an advertisement for it. The silence, then, isn't empty. It's full of intention. It's the sound of a boundary being respected, of a choice to prioritize substance over signal, and of a profound understanding that the most valuable things in life often thrive away from the spotlight. So, what is it that these people are actually protecting? It's easy to label it as privacy and move on, but that's just the surface. Beneath that choice lies an entire unseen architecture, a carefully built foundation of mental peace, authentic relationships, and personal freedom that crumbles under the weight of constant performance. When you decide that your financial life is not for public consumption, you're not just hiding assets, you're constructing a different kind of life altogether. Consider the psychological toll of the showcase. Every post about a success is a brick in a wall of expectation. You bought a house, now people will expect the renovation updates. You got a promotion, the next vacation better be impressive. The image you project becomes a character you must continue to play, and that character's storyline only goes one way: up. It's exhausting. The person who opts out of this game liberates themselves from that narrative arc. Their life is allowed to be messy, to have quiet seasons, to have setbacks that don't become public spectacles. They grant themselves the freedom to simply be, without the pressure to constantly prove. Their mental peace isn't a lucky accident. It's a guarded fortress, and the moat is their silence. This extends deeply into relationships. Money shown is a filter, but it's a distorting one. It attracts a certain kind of attention and repels another. When you don't broadcast your financial status, you allow people to connect with you, not your perceived wealth. Your friendships are built on shared interests, values, and experiences, not on perceived utility or social climbing. Think about it. If no one knows the brand of your watch or the neighborhood you live in, what's left? Your character, your humor, your ideas. The connections formed on this basis are inherently more resilient and genuine. You never have to wonder, do they like me, or do they like the idea of me? By keeping money out of the equation, you ensure the equation is about something real. There's also a profound freedom in disconnecting your self-worth from external validation. The dopamine hit of likes and congratulatory comments is real, but it's a fickle currency. When you tie your sense of achievement to that applause, you hand over the reins of your self-esteem to an algorithm and the fleeting attention of others. The individual who enjoys a win in private anchors their satisfaction to the experience itself. The promotion feels good because of the work accomplished, not the LinkedIn announcement. The new car is satisfying because of the reliability and safety it provides their family, not the Instagram reel. This internal validation system is robust. It doesn't fluctuate with engagement metrics or trends. It makes you the sole author of your own narrative, immune to the critics in the cheap seats. This behavior also serves as a powerful financial safeguard. In an era of oversharing, displaying wealth is an operational security risk. It can make you a target for everything from sophisticated phishing scams and identity theft to more mundane but stressful situations like constant requests for loans or investments. The discreet individual avoids painting a target on their back. Their financial decisions remain just that: decisions, not discussions. This allows for more strategic, long-term thinking without the noise of public opinion. They can invest quietly, save diligently, and even make mistakes, all within the safe confines of their own private world. Their financial growth happens in the dark, like roots underground, unseen, but fundamental to their stability. Perhaps the most significant protection is over the meaning of things themselves. When you post a photo of a family heirloom, a piece of art, or even a simple meal, you immediately invite interpretation, judgment, and categorization. That precious personal object becomes just another thing in the endless scroll. The person who keeps it to themselves preserves its sacred, subjective meaning. That watch isn't a Rolex, it's the gift from a parent for a major milestone. That vacation isn't a easy luxury escape, it's the recovery period after a difficult year. By not translating these experiences into the public language of status symbols and hashtags, they protect the original, emotional language in which these things truly matter. The value remains emotional, not transactional. This creates a fascinating paradox. In choosing not to perform abundance, they often cultivate a deeper, more felt sense of it. Abundance becomes a quality of experience, time, peace, security, genuine connection, rather than a quantitative display of possessions. They understand that real wealth isn't about having things to show, but about having things that you don't need to show to anyone to feel their worth. This mindset is a radical act of redefinition in a culture that constantly confuses price tags with value. The architecture they build is, therefore, one of profound autonomy. It's a life where choices are driven by personal desire and need, not by perceived social reward. It's a quieter life, certainly, a less applauded one from the outside. But from within, it's often a richer, more spacious, and more authentic existence. They have traded the crowded, noisy theater of public approval for the quiet, well-lit room of self-possession. And in that room, the most important conversations, the ones about what truly matters, are the only ones that echo. We've framed this choice as protection, as strategy, as a building of a private world. But there's another, more subtle layer. It is a reclaiming of opacity in a world that demands total transparency. We are expected to document, to explain, to justify. Our lives are to be open books, with financial success as a highlighted chapter. The person who refuses to publish that chapter isn't just being private. They are asserting a fundamental right to mystery. They are saying, some parts of me are not for you to see, measure, or judge. And in doing so, they touch on something we've nearly forgotten: the power of keeping something for yourself. This isn't about leading a double life. It's about rejecting the idea that a life must be legible to others to be valid. Social media turns existence into a series of data points, a graph where happiness is plotted against visible consumption. But human experience is analog, not digital. It's full of ambiguities, contradictions, and private joys that don't translate into a clean post. The vacation that was relaxing but had terrible weather. The expensive meal that was mediocre, but the conversation was priceless. The raise that came with unbearable stress. The discrete individual lives comfortably within these contradictions. They aren't forced to edit the complexity out to fit a narrative of flawless success. Their story remains whole, nuanced, and true only to them. This opacity acts as a shield against a very specific modern anxiety, the anxiety of perception. When your life is a performance, you are in a constant state of rehearsal. You are managing impressions, curating reactions, anticipating envy or admiration. It's a second job. The individual who steps off that stage is freed from that labor. They no longer spend mental energy wondering, what will people think of this? Because people don't know about this to begin with. That cognitive load, the energy spent on personal branding, is redirected. It can be poured into the experience itself, into deeper relationships with the few who are truly close, or into simply being present. The peace that comes from this is not passive. It's the active peace of a mind that is no longer a public relations department for its own life. There's also a profound dignity in this discretion. It treats money with a kind of respect, acknowledging its power to corrupt relationships and distort self-image when put on constant display. By keeping it in its proper utilitarian place, as a tool for living, not the theme of the living, they prevent it from becoming the protagonist of their story. Their identity is built on actions, values, and character, not on consumption. This is increasingly rare. In a culture that often uses financial display as a shorthand for competence, morality, or even happiness, choosing a different path is a quiet statement of rebellion. It says, I am more than my purchasing power. This choice also preserves the possibility of genuine surprise and intimacy. When you don't pre-announce every achievement or acquisition, you leave room for real-world discovery. A friend visits your home for the first time and notices the art you've collected over years, sparking a conversation that goes deeper than a comment under a photo. A colleague learns about your side project over coffee, not through a LinkedIn update, making the exchange feel like a shared secret rather than a broadcast. These moments of organic revelation carry a weight and a warmth that scheduled posting can never replicate. They are based on shared space and time, not on digital proximity. Ultimately, this behavior points to a matured understanding of what security really means. For many, security is portrayed as flashy. The big house, the luxury car in the driveway, all visible for the world to see and acknowledge. But for the person who doesn't flaunt, security is often invisible. It's the robust emergency fund no one knows about. It's the diversified investment portfolio that never gets a humble brag. It's the peace of mind that comes from knowing your choices are your own, not influenced by the need to keep up appearances. This is a deeper, more resilient form of security. It doesn't need an audience to feel real. It is felt in the quiet confidence of a daily life, unburdened by performance. So the next time you see that quiet feed, that person who seems to be living well without proving it, understand that you're not looking at an absence. You're looking at a different kind of presence. A presence rooted in the tangible world, in protected relationships, and in a self-defined sense of worth. In an economy of attention, they have chosen to be a closed ecosystem, thriving on its own terms. They have traded the spotlight for sovereignty. And perhaps that's the most compelling takeaway. In refusing to turn their life into a showcase, they haven't diminished it. They've condensed it into something denser, more personal, and ultimately more real. The wealth they cultivate isn't designed to be seen, it's designed to be lived, and that may be the most luxurious asset of all. If this perspective resonates with you, or makes you reconsider your own relationship with sharing online, consider subscribing to the channel. We explore these subtle shifts in how we live and think, and with the notifications bell on, you won't miss our next reflection on the quiet choices that shape our modern lives.